Me?
Yeah, you want to kick us off, Joel?
Yeah, I can do it if you want.
Warning. This program is intended for adults of legal drinking age. Whiskey is consumed in disgust. The intent is to educate our palates on the differences of whiskey flavors and not an intent to get drunk. Please drink responsibly.
Friends, Romans, whiskey drinkers. Hello, I'm Joseph Limbaugh, and this is I Fucking Love Whiskey. You know that. And you also know that, as always, I am joined by my co-host, this guy right here, Andrew Pierce. Andrew, what's the story, Morning Glory?
I'd just like everyone to know right up front that I fucking love whiskey. I'm also super happy to have you here. And I'm super thrilled to find out that one of my workout buddies here, Mr. Phil del Costello, is also a fan of whiskey of some sorts, although he tends to favor the bourbons. And today we're going to the scotches, and we're going to see just how he fares on this little voyage.
We're going to
Phil,
scotch him
welcome.
up. Scotch him up today. Have you
Can't
had
wait
many
to be
scotches?
Scotch.
You've had some scotches.
I have had some scotches, but I also think I haven't had enough to have a full, strong opinion about it where I could back it up, right? I just kind of, if I'm at a bar, I'm probably just going to go for the bourbon that I know and not really adventure with scotch unless I have a scotch friend with me, which is kind of rare. So
Have you ever had Laphroaig before?
I have, but I could not tell you about when and where. And I mean, Andrew's there, right? He's on the scene at the distillery. Look at that. And that guy has not moved since.
He drank a lot in the bar.
But I have, it not anything where I could make a memorable, recollection of it. So I'm here for it.
That's very exciting. Just before the show, you were telling us about all these projects you wanted to talk about. Do you want to? Oh, you said no. Never mind. Hey, why don't we start with our first whiskey?
Let's have some scotch.
Uh-huh.
Here's our first one. As soon as it focuses here, this is a 22-year-old Laphroaig Distillers Edition, Director's Special. It is obviously a sherry influence casks. That's just black. That's crazy.
It's very dark, yeah. Now, I started my Scotch career with Laphroaig. That's when I really started to get excited about Scotches. And I still like the standard 10-year Laphroaig. But like their special, like single cask stuff that like shows up is always so much more exciting. You know what I mean? Like it's got that original, but it's like, because if I drink like a 10 Laphroaig now, I'm like, that's good. But I'd rather have something a little more interesting. So
would you call that 10 your like a go-to? Like
not
would
anymore.
You rely on that?
It used to be like I used to always drink it, and now like I probably would rather have like an Ardbeg Ugadal or like a Port Charlotte if I'm going to go to something. Port Charlotte really, to me, hits that spot now. It has a more interesting flavor to it. Like it's got more nuance. Like Laphroaig is like kind of beats you over the head like Pete, and it's great, but it's like Port Charlotte is more nuanced, I guess, for me. I don't know.
Now, this is a 22-year-old Laphroaig, and we know that the phenols will reduce with age as well. So this may not be as peaty as you expect a Laphroaig to be.
And this has sherry in it. Now, I don't recall, does Laphroaig generally have sherry in it?
They're generally
done. I'm not sherry in it, but is it done in a sherry cask?
Sherry and bourbon casks is generally the mix.
So like the 10-year Laphroaig you get, that is done in a sherry cask. Some of it, part of the mixture.
The mixture, but like Ugadal is sherry and bourbon casks mixed. So it's... It's a kind of standard. The sherry is a nice thing to cut the peat with. My whiskey just told me it's feeling lonely.
Okay, let's smell it.
Okay.
Oh, wow. And we're starting pretty strong here. This is 52%.
Yeah, this is a rocket sled ride today, folks.
Well, this smells very sherry influenced to me. Like that more, it doesn't smell like a Laphroaig. It smells more like there's a little bit of that in there. A little bit of that in there.
A bit of sweaty saddle leather in here.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually think
I do feel like I'm sitting in a fancy.
I know sweaty saddle leather. Okay, so he's not lying.
I do feel like I'm sitting in a fancy leather chair in the middle of a stable, like a horse stable.
Mm-hmm. On the set of Yellowstone. Do they do
Yeah.
that? Are we tasting? Shall I?
Should we go in?
Sure,
I'd like to
we
know
can do
this.
it.
Slosh.
Oh, wow. This is my favorite whiskey.
I would agree. This is subtle. This is surprising. Oh, the finish comes out. Finish comes out and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, that was alcohol too."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very alcohol-y at the end, but not in a bad way. Like it just kind of makes itself known. Like, by the way,
this does not smell or taste like what you would expect a Laphroaig to smell or taste like.
No.
It reminds me of like, yeah, something from like, I don't know, Speyside or something, like, you know, like a sherry, something over that from that, except for that little bit of smoky leatheriness that's in there. It's still there. The little bit of gasoline or.
What does this remind you of, Phil? Where does this take
you? I'm not sure if it's a specific place, but I am sitting in a leather chair. And maybe, I don't know. I'm in a bar and I have a sweater on and I'm not hot. It's winter time right now and I've got my boots on. Like this is a very cozy, warm, like this is something I could sip and be very like, I don't need to get through this. I'm going to enjoy and savor this. Like very much like I'm reading. I'm not talking to anybody. Like this is like, you know what I mean?
I feel like I'm in a leather chair in a library at a mountain lodge. And there's a horse in that library.
Yeah.
Like next to me reading.
The horse is next to you reading?
Yeah, maybe it's a puka or something.
I'm thinking of a very specific bar that I used to go to in New York. And I can't think of the name of it right now, but I'm sitting there right now.
Down on Bleecker Street?
No. It's in Brooklyn. It's in Park Slope in my old neighborhood. Union Hall. That's where I'm at. There's books all over the place. I'm in one of the chairs. Nobody's talking to me. There's too much snow on the ground and I'm miserable, but I'm comfy. This is why I came. I don't care how much I paid for this. You know what I mean? Yes. I don't care. This is what I came for. I can have one glass of this and be fine and leave.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
this was a good show, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for this.
Hell, we have three more whiskeys, Phil. There's three more, Phil.
This is so nice.
You're gonna go on a.
Can I have another one, please? Can I have another one? Is that how it works? I have to ask permission as a guest.
Yeah.
How many of them will be my favorite whiskey? Maybe all of them.
I know. I'm easy to please, but this is.
Oh, it's delicious. It is.
Yeah.
It feels wrong to have more in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. Like I really want to like savor this. This is a great start. Wow. Is it smoky? Am I getting smoke?
I think you might be.
Yeah, there's a little bit in there. That's the Laphroaig right there. I can taste it. Yeah.
That's the peated Laphroaig that's burning just inside.
Especially like now that I've sipped it, like going back to the nose right after sipping it. I definitely
right there.
That's their peat furnaces are right back here. They're
Have you been there?
Barley floors up here. Yeah.
Really? 4 times. I love it. Wait. Do they know you now, or is it?
It's a different tour guide each time. Brooke Laddie, however, we tend to meet the same person, and Bunnahabhain.
Definitely, yeah, that makes sense. I love that. I'm happy you're still there. That's great. Is it cold?
It's actually pretty nice today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really echoey out in that pasture.
It's surprising, right? For such an open space, how echoey it is. Yeah. I mean,
I'm right here by the ocean, nature, right?
You can't hear the
a lot of bounce from the distillery, I guess.
Yeah. And the ocean. The ocean is like a flat surface. Just
a lot of bounce from the ocean. It doesn't
Yeah,
suck
yeah,
up
yeah.
sound at all.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And the low
Nature
clouds.
for
The
you,
low
right?
clouds are obviously why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If a tree falls. This is
That's-
great.
Oh my
Kudos.
God.
Kudos to these
Do we have to
folks.
do science on this?
Man, I don't want to, but I feel like we have to. But I don't think it's gonna. I have a bad feeling about it. I'll do it. Wait, I think I have my Isla. Yeah, I've got my Isla
You
water.
got some Milo water.
Yeah, I'll do it. Let me take one more quick sip though.
So Phil, this is how crazy we are. I went to Islay, I went to Spey, I went to Campbelltown. I got water from each location, from the distilleries, from little taps.
Yes.
They're the same thing that they feed the into the whiskey.
So when you're traveling back, so what, you can only bring like 3 ounces, but do you bring a bunch of 3 ounces?
Of water?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
how do you bring it back? Or do you just order it there?
Check it in your luggage.
Okay. Yeah, but so you do like a dozen of 3 ounces, like you're like malicious compliant. Sure. Yeah, I'll give you 3 ounces, but you really have 12.
In my checked luggage, I bring back full bottles.
Oh,
Well,
your
I think
checked luggage is a
with the
different
water,
thing.
it
I was
smells
thinking
more
carry-on.
smoky to me.
Oh, really? It wakes up the phenols?
Yeah, it's more smoky, I think.
This guy's smuggling water.
More smoky, more leathery, more in the stable and less in the chair.
Okay. You know what?
I agree. It's looser, right?
Oh, it gives it a little bit. It moves the bite up to the front of the taste.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You're the weirdo, Jilly Marie.
Oh, I should look at the comments.
You don't have to.
So part of the reason I'm here is I think also like Scotch can seem a little bit boom.
Intimidating, maybe.
Yeah, like and could be a little bit gatekeepy. Like, where do you go? Who do you ask? You know, you ask a bartender that just at a bar that you go to, or you know what I mean? So like when you're looking at so what I'm saying, we see here 52.6. Islay, is that right?
Isla.
Ex-sherry but matured. So break that down for me.
So Islay is a small island on the west coast of Scotland. It has eight distilleries now, soon to be a 9th, producing whiskey. Traditionally, historically, there's basically no trees on Islay. If they use trees to burn, to dry the barley, you would have no trees left at all. So instead, they cut up the ground, which is full of, it's peat. It's on its way to becoming coal. It's organic matter being compressed, and it burns like a garbage. It smokes. It puts these organic things that get out of the smokiness and the whiskey onto the barley, and so traditionally that's the flavor of an Islay whiskey.
So that's the Islay part. And Islay is one of the regions, the big regions where Scotch comes from. Islay, Highlands, Lowlands.
So
Speyside.
if I were a Scotch person, if I saw Islay, I could already kind of like, okay, this is what I'm kind of getting toward or what I'm dealing with. Okay, cool. And then it's not one company that like cornered it all, right? Like they're different distilleries, and it's not like nobody has a monopoly on it.
Well, I mean, Diageo has some ridiculous number of distilleries, I think 21, 18.
Right. See, that's like kind of that kind of idea, like how you explained it. I would hate for that to just be like, it's only ours now, and then they just do their own thing with it. Because this is like, I would love to see this word on other scotches and be like, oh wow, now I know what this means and what this comes from. I think that's so cool. That's so interesting. And then
so if you go like Lagavulin, Ardbeg, Bowmore, Colilla, Bunnahabhain, you kind of know that kind of peatiness you're going to get. Kilchoman is also on the island. It has a little bit of different kind of peat because it's kind of on the northern shore, so it gets a little different flavor. And then Brookladdy, which is one of my favorites, all-time favorites, that's the Port Charlotte. They get their peat from around Inverness currently. So they tend to be more lighter, more maybe a little heather influenced or more shrubberies than this iodine that you get on Islay.
Wow,
Bubby says hi.
Oh, Bubby says hi.
Grandma says hello.
That broke Phil. No,
No, I thought maybe it was going to be one of your grandmothers or
That's
is one of our grandmothers.
no, it's a code for you. It says
Yeah, I think
it's a code for you to know who it is. It is that time though.
Hi, Grandma.
It's time for us to move forward to the next scotch.
I wasn't done, Joseph. I wasn't done.
I know. Well, that's not my fault. That's
speaking of another Islay distillery, here it is. It's a slice of peat-heaven from Distillery 10, which is Bunnahabhain, which I just mentioned there. And it is an SMWS 10.213, outturn 1 of 577 bottles they got from this. It was a second-fill Oloroso butt. So this is also sherry influenced, but you'll notice the color
quite a bit lighter.
Is a lot lighter from a
So
it's a second fill.
Not to stop you here, but we've got two things, and you were getting to Joseph, you were getting to explain the rest of it.
Sherry,
the rest of the sequence there, the butt part.
A butt, that's just it's just a barrel. It's a type of barrel is all it is. That's what that means. So it was
a large butt.
So they finish it in a barrel to give it flavor. The sherry butt used to have sherry in it, and the barrel absorbs the flavors of the sherry, and then they put the scotch in, and then they do that with a lot of different, like rum or white wine or red wine, or usually it's bourbon. That's kind of the traditional. They take stuff that had bourbon. So interesting that like bourbon is an important part of the process of making scotch. They have to get these bourbon barrels that had bourbon, and then they use them. They repurpose them to make scotch. It's really interesting.
That's great. Thank you for that. So Oloroso.
Oloroso sherry.
This type of sherry. Spanish, right?
So that's the barrel. It came from that sort of barrel.
It was put into that barrel. It was the second time this barrel has been used. So if it's a first fill, it means they made sherry in it. They got the barrel. They made whiskey in it. That's the first fill. They empty whiskey out. They sell it. This barrel then gets refilled with more to age. That's the second fill. So this is a second
whiskey.
fill also whiskey. So you can see it's much paler than the first.
It's paler, and it has less of the sherry influence because it's like
So first fill would be a little bit kind of more darker, more like a darker amber. You would
expect it so, but it's not always the case that it's dark. Like it's a organic process between the wood and the sherry and
so it could come out either way when it's done.
Right.
Plus sometimes they do put coloring in there. Sometimes they will. It doesn't. Yeah, this might also be my favorite whiskey.
This is my favorite whiskey. I just pricked my nose.
That nose is amazing.
Oh my god.
Julie Marie says you have an amazing truck.
Ooh, that is actually I can talk about that. Yes, thank you. Yes, I drive a 1970 Ford F100. And I take pretty good care of it. Yes, it is. I love it. I'm happy. Get the things that you want, including this.
Yeah,
this is great. No one's tasted it yet, right? I'm just in this nose right now.
I could sit in this nose for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't want
to taste it yet. I tasted it. Sorry.
You did? Oh, no. Okay.
Okay. Oh my God. Now, this is 60%, obviously. So 60.5. Wow. Yeah. That's
heavy lifting.
That is heavy lifting.
Yeah.
That is quite a bit of a jump from the 52.6 we were just at.
That is my favorite whiskey.
It's also my favorite. Yeah, for sure. It's amazing.
Buttered toast.
Yeah. It's a sherry whiskey, but it's got so many great savory notes going on in there. Like it's like buttered toast with like a little bit of like cinnamon on it, or like a little bit of like, I don't know, maybe even like a light little bit of cookie butter.
Well,
you're right. I was like, I started with like, what are they saying? And then I was like, okay. Also that one. And he's also right.
That's why I love drinking whiskey with other people, because when they say stuff, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
I didn't hone in on that, but now I see it.
But it's good to place it that way too, because it really like hones in, and it kind of, I don't know if it subconsciously like channels your tongue to be like, no, more this way. But it's very.
Oh
wow, it starts right away too.
I tell you,
and
folks,
then
Bunnahabhain knows how to make whiskey.
Like it's just tailing off like very nicely. Where
it's a long finish. It's an amazing long finish.
Oh man, it's got like ginger in there. Any bananas?
Yeah.
It's
a little bit in the nose. Yeah, there's some bananas in the nose, I think. Not in the taste so much, but there's some. I can smell kind of bananas in the nose.
This is the metaphor I just got thinking about the finish. It's just like you've just pulled your little red wagon to the top of a hill, and then you trip on a rock and you let the wagon go, and it starts rolling down the hill, and you think, oh, it's going to hit this curb and it's going to stop, but it doesn't. It swerves away at the last second, and it keeps rolling down the hill. You just keep watching it going and going, and it's still there, but it's like so far away, and you're like, don't hit the girl on the bike. Oh, hit the girl on the bike. Oh no, it's hitting that side of the car. It keeps going. It just keeps going. The girl's fine. The girl's fine. She jumped out of the way.
Okay, but the car? I'm concerned about the property damage more than anything else. But this,
the car's got a scratch on it.
You took us through a whole Frogger thing when it just should have been smooth sailing. I feel like it just, yeah, I feel like it tails off very nicely. The thing that I pictured was just like kind of the damsel dropping her kerchief. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like the kerchief never hits the ground. It just keeps going down. Exactly. It just keeps falling. And you're like, how is this possible? It's impossible.
Shall I do some water now? Is that the idea?
Jill, I think it's because the girl doesn't need saving. The girl can save herself. Women are empowered.
Oh, don't.
I'm not going to do water yet. I'm gonna wait and see.
I can't do it yet. No, I'm gonna wait to see what.
Phil, did you put water in? Did you already do it?
I just did it. I just dropped.
Because it's so good. I don't know what it's gonna do. You know. The kerchief doesn't get run over. It keeps falling. And it never hits the ground, basically. Defying all the rules of physics and politeness and flirting.
I see the car going by, and that is a breeze that lifts it.
Sure. I'm still going to throw my jacket on top of a puddle, though, because this is still going. Am I getting like toasty, marshmallowy kind of stuff now? I
can see that.
Could be,
or did I just stick that idea in my head? I feel like it kind of lightened it up in the toasty way, but
I definitely like nicely browned marshmallows. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing the science, Sam. Okay.
So is this the same water that you just did, or is this a different water?
It's the same water because this is also from Islay. So I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little sweeter. Yeah, on the nose. Yeah, I could see the marshmallow more now with the water than before. There's also like a smokiness though too in the end, like in there. There's a little bit of like Laphroaig-ish smokiness. Harumph.
If the wagon was tied to the whiskey salesman, then I
didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Stopped.
I feel like it just keeps lifting. Now it's not even going down. Now it's going up in a way. Like it's loosening up, and it's not staying on my tongue or in my palate as much as the last one. Like it's kind of going, thanks for your time. You know what I mean? Are you guys not getting that? Like I feel like it's
with
kind
the water, it's more front loaded. Yeah, and then it goes away sooner. Also, there's like a funky tang to it, like a sourness that wasn't there before, I think, with the water. I don't dislike it, but it's not what I expected.
Yeah, I don't know if I need it with water.
I mean, I think I could do it either way. I don't think the water ruins it, but it's like I think I liked it a little bit better before, but it could go either way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe for breakfast
no water
or
for
something
me.
like that.
This is no water.
You're saying no water at all. You don't like what it does.
I don't like what it does.
No.
I want to tell Mo that if the whiskey salesman was attached to that wagon, I would have stopped that wagon. Like I would have found a way. Like even if I tripped and dropped it, I would have like made a much more effort than to save the girl on the bike. I don't know why. That sounds very, very poorly of me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why doesn't the whiskey salesman take care of himself or herself?
You didn't even include if she had a helmet on. So
Wait.
Ugh.
She's riding a bike. Of course she has a helmet on. No one's crazy.
Guys, this was a great show. Thank you so much for your time.
And we broke Phil again. Whiskey.
I was a fan. I feel like I don't necessarily need to look at it this way, but it's not as versatile as the first one. Like with the water with the first one was still great and in a different way. This one, I don't hate it with the water, but if I need to do it again, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Andrew now. Now that I've had another sip with water, it's just too sour and bitter. Like it takes that sweetness away that was so delicate.
Too much fire in the end, I think, as well.
Yeah. But we got 4 minutes before we're supposed to move on. But I've finished this whiskey.
Well, okay. Well, I can finish. I'm known for.
You don't have to finish. It's like we don't. We're not in a hurry. We can talk about other stuff.
I'm known for finishing. It's okay.
Yeah. Like Phil. So you produced some stuff. What sort of stuff you produced? What's going on?
I mostly produce events and film festivals and stuff like that. I also do the operation side of both. I've been doing that off and on for the last like 15 years or so. So yeah, it's something that I'm a bit of an old hat on, but it's something that I still really enjoy doing, and really got a good community of people that are kind of like, for all intents and purposes, like kind of like carnies of the arts world in a way, where they just kind of travel around and like run these things. And when you do these kinds of things, events, TV production, film production, and festivals and stuff like that, it really kind of like you end up it's a much smaller world than you think it is, and you really kind of like have a lot of solid colleagues, and there's like so many good people that I work with. I'm so happy that I took a long break, and I'm back to it, and I was kind of welcomed back in with open arms. So I'm happy that I'm here, still doing it. Yeah.
Awesome. Will you be having more whiskey at these events from now on?
Oh yes. Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially during work hours and stuff like that, because it's really already loosening me up. So
it makes everything better.
It really does. Especially now that also I'm learning so much about this. Because I think a lot of people just kind of also just shake off whiskey and stuff is just, well, it's just something to get you drunk, but it's something to like taste and experience, and it comes from something, and it really like there's so many different specific things about it that like I'm here for this journey and this learning experience. So yeah,
that's what we're all about. We want people to appreciate it and the art that goes into
so cool.
crafting it, and we also we want to get rid of the idea that it's like this highbrow thing that only like wealthy, fancy people can drink, and there shouldn't be any gatekeeping for whiskey. It doesn't come from that originally, really. It's
or it's something where also like you kind of have to like, it's like you have to find your own way to get to where you like, this is the stuff I enjoy. Because like I said earlier, like it really is like, how do you start to like this sort of thing when you don't really know much about it or where it comes from or what kind of water they use or the barrels or anything else. But like, especially when like a lot of us are just like, we just go to bars to like have a couple of beers or drinks that we like and not really explore just tasting these kinds of things and really kind of opening up like our horizons with it. I truly am so happy I'm doing this. This is great.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that also that the bartenders aren't incented to give you this stuff because like, oh, just open the bottle and pour it into a glass. No, wait, I can put a sprig of this in and twist of that. I'll mold this.
Yeah, but he's all like, they're also like, bartenders are also like, they're also largely overworked, so they can't be like, well, let me tell you, I
Right.
studied abroad of like 20 years ago. Like they're not going to do that because they've got somebody else being like, so it really is like, how do you start? Where do you get your footing, and who do you talk to about this stuff?
You know, if
It's
you
so
talk to
cool.
us, you come to our show.
That's right. Or
Watch
you
the
watch,
show.
or you watch the show. You
There's
watch the back
others
of
as
it.
well, but not as many metaphors on others.
Why
What
would
is it?
you?
What kind
This
of?
is
What's
the
your
show.
favorite bourbon? You like bourbon? What's your favorite bourbon? What do you normally drink?
Wow. I like Blanton's quite a bit.
Blanton's?
Good nonverbal response. That's good. So
I don't
what else?
honestly. I don't know that I've heard. What did you say? Blanton's?
Blends or Blantons?
Blanton's.
I've never had Blanton's.
I think it's great. What does it got? Like a little jockey on the top of the bottle, on top of the cork.
Oh yeah, the little horse on top of the
Yeah. What else? I like that. What is it? The Woodford Double aged. I like that one, or just Woodford in general.
Woodford
Like,
Reserve.
I'm
Woodford's
more
good.
so, and I'm more so just again like when I'm drinking whiskey, it's more so like I'm at home, I'm listening to records, watching TV, hanging out with my girlfriend, like that kind of stuff. Not necessarily like, going through blogs or anything and trying to find something. I do get stuck in my ways with whiskeys, like where I'm just like, okay, cool. I figured out the ones that I like. I will deviate from time to time, but like if I have these ones that I like, I'm good. So this kind of thing, again, this is great because now I'm more motivated to kind of
branch out maybe.
Yeah, and like pursue this stuff and like kind of figure it out and really kind of find this, because so far, like I said, even like I said with the first one, like it puts me in a place, and I very much like that. And I don't mean to over like kind of film student it and that kind of thing, but like, or film school it, like it, but really like that put me in like I was in a place, and there was a fire, and there were candles and there were books all around. Yeah.
That's
great.
That's what we're talking about. We got to move forward to the next next whiskey.
Although I just want to, before we do, I just want to come back to what you said, because we've talked to a lot of experts and they do the same thing. They say like, when I want to concentrate on whiskey, I want to have these, I want to try all these things. When I just want to dram, I come home after a long day, I just want something to go to the thing they like. And I mean, I think for Joseph and I, Ugadal, PC10, just like, boom, I'm there. That's so easy. I don't have to think about it so much. Anyways, okay. All right. Here we go. Another SMWS, lip smacking and summery. This is from Glenfarclas Distillery 1, the very first distillery the SMWS bought a cask from. Outturn 1 of 234, 63.1%, and this is not
great Scotch.
This is just a step on the way. It's crazy.
And this is Speyside.
Speyside second-fill ex-bourbon barrel, so it's pale like you'd expect.
Second-fill bourbon barrel. Yeah.
Second-fill. But if you look at it next to the second-fill Oloroso, I mean, it's hard to tell which is which. They're both.
Yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily know something's a sherry cask if it's like a second fill, like
and we kind of like covered that a little bit earlier, like with the second fill, like you're gonna.
Andrew's gonna say this is his favorite whiskey. That is fruity. That is fruity as fuck, though. That's got.
Andrew, can I ask you a question?
Oh my god,
my favorite whiskey.
Andrew, god damn it! Can I ask you a question, Andrew?
You got to smell this whiskey first, Phil. Smell it. Smell the whiskey.
Well, now I'm kind of hooked on Andrew here, because which ones don't you like? Which ones are you like, never again? Or like, I tried it, I keep trying, and it just doesn't work?
There's ones that are just kind of ordinary. There's ones that kind of smell more pulpy, or they just have like every flavor under the sun because they kind of blended together, that flavor and that flavor and that flavor. Instead of those flavors standing out, they just kind of all homogenize into one. So I wouldn't say I didn't like them. It's just I didn't fucking love them.
I don't think I've ever met a whiskey I didn't like. Even something that's like it. Now, Malort is not a whiskey. That is the only thing I would say. Drink that I would say.
That you guys are talking a lot of stuff, and mostly I haven't heard of it. And when you guys are like, I haven't met a whiskey I didn't like, My brain goes to stuff like Old Crow and stuff that's served in plastic bottles. And you guys are still talking about stuff that I have never heard of.
Old
Well,
Crow.
Malort isn't a whiskey. It's just it's like a medicinal, like it's from Chicago. It's a Chicago thing.
Like
I think if
mead?
someone served me anything from a plastic jug, I'd go, I don't think so. That's not mine.
Wow. Okay, fine. And you grew up in Alberta?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Drinking from plastic jugs. So I know where my hatred of it comes
If
from.
something's coming from a plastic jug, I'm okay with it being mixed with other stuff, and then then I might drink it. But
Sure.
but honestly, like I do, like even from a plastic jug, I will still drink whiskey.
Yeah.
And
mean,
I would say, like, now this is gonna, like, Pappy Van Winkle, I would say I had that and I thought it was good, but it's like this big, very expensive, like, bourbon, that people are like, oh, it's, and it's like, for the price, I just feel like it's not worth it to me. Like, it's one of those things that I feel like is overhyped. But
well, I don't know. I'll drink it out of a coal miner's boot. I don't give a shit.
Right. And I would drink it from a bathtub in Beverly Hills. I think that whiskey was damn good. That was experimental in all the right ways.
oh boy, oh my God, that's not. I didn't expect any of that. Whoa. Yeah, that really hits some interesting parts of your mouth. Like, there's a lip smacking is exactly right. It's like there's like a tang to it, like a lemony acidic, or like
Okay,
a
good.
citrusy.
I was slightly embarrassed when I was like, like I'm
Zesty.
this is a zesty. Holy cats!
We never read
almost,
the tasting notes from the last one either. From an S, because it was an SMWS, right?
Well, we can come back and do them both at the end of this.
Thad, do you want to read them when we do this one?
I can do that.
I like it when you're part of the show.
You got them? Yeah, me too.
bless you, Thad. Glenfarclas,
Glenfarclas.
8-year-old,
8
and then
8 years old.
SMWS.
SMWS is the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. They're an independent bottler. They go and buy casks from distilleries, and then they put it in bottles themselves when they think it's ready to taste, and then they offer them for sale to the membership.
So this stuff
it's
is really unique. Like, once all the bottles of this are gone, it cannot be got again. It's all
like a subscription service kind of thing, or
not necessarily. Well, I'm not necessarily. It's one of 234. So there's 234 bottles of this in the world. Probably less now that it's been out for a while. People have drank them. You're a member of the society, and every month they say, hey, we've bottled these 12 casks, and there's like a couple thousand bottles available. You say, you read the tasting notes of the panel of experts that tasted the thing, and you kind of go, oh, that's got that note. I really like that kind of tasting note. That appeals to me, or the way they describe it sounds interesting. So you have to buy it sight unseen.
so is it like something that kind of like you got to be on it, like, oh wow, there's the email, and then you check it out and then you go, or not for you?
So they do a tasting on Monday nights on YouTube, and then Monday morning at 10 a.m. here for us here on the West Coast, it goes on sale, and everybody just like, and probably within the hour, most of the interesting bottles are gone.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and some
like
things
that.
like disappear quicker than other things because people know that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like there's some
Right.
even distilleries that get bought up right away. Isn't that right,
Yeah,
Andrew?
if there's an Ardbeg out there, it'll go in microseconds. It just people are crazy to get a single cask Ardbeg.
Lip smacking and summery.
Oh, and so the story I love about this is like these guys down in Edinburgh decided like, hey, let's form a club and we'll go to distilleries and we'll buy a cask and we can all try it, uncut, unblended. And they thought, that's a great idea. So this guy drove up in his like Toyota, and he got to the store, they said, can I buy a cask? They said, sure. And they went like, here you go, there's the cask. And he's like, what am I supposed to do with it? And so they tied it into his trunk. I can just imagine this Toyota like so back heavy, trying to tool down this narrow Scottish roads.
There hasn't been a short film made about this. I feel like this is a no-brainer.
I think you're right. I think
Twitch viewers, let's do this. Let's make this film. I think that's great. Lip smacking in summer. It says December 2012, 1 out of 234. So that was 234 bottles.
They came
and this is one of those bottles.
Yeah.
December 2012.
That's when it
10
was
years.
distilled and put into the cask.
So it was released 2020.
What were you guys doing in 2012 aside from, you know, paying attention to the Joseph Kony stuff? Kony 2012.
That's pretty specific. Yeah, I was watching that movie 2012.
You don't remember the Kony 2012 stuff?
The Mayan end of the universe, end of days sort of thing? No.
No.
No, I've done something different.
You're gonna have to go to Wikipedia for that one, baby. We don't have enough time,
No,
and we don't have enough whiskey for the how. It's a oof.
I don't remember anything since before the pandemic accurately. It all
You know
became
what? That really
a mush.
it really made a fog, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put some water in this because I think water is going to. Well, I feel like here's my guess.
It's quite strong.
Yeah,
I do feel like water, it holds it better with water if it's strong.
Yeah, so maybe I'm gonna say the lip smacking is gonna go down, but it's gonna stay summery.
I'm worried that that water will make it sour. I'm gonna wait and see what Andrew says.
It's entirely possible. I know
because it's just sour enough right now, and sometimes water makes things. It gets rid of the sweetness, but I don't know.
Got another cue. Speyside.
That's another region like Islay. It's a location next to the Spey River. That's why it's Speyside.
Yeah.
So
it's defined by the River Spey and all its tributaries. Any tributary of Spey, that's the region of Spey.
So like Islay, if I see Islay, I know this for its specific peat and how they burn their soil and everything else. What about Speyside? What do I know knowing as a Scotch drinker?
You're probably going to get something more aged in sherry, something lighter in spirit, a little bit loftier, fruit forward.
I find a lot of the Speyside distillery, like they're what I would call candy store, the smell and the taste. Like a lot of, but that's because of the sherry, but that's what I would say from, I guess, the style, but it's different for everything.
Does candy store necessarily mean, it doesn't necessarily mean entry level though. It just means like, it's just like a more,
it's a word that I made up. It's not even like an official Scotch thing. It's just like this, I would say is a candy store whiskey. Because when I first sniff it, it's like you walk into an old timey candy store and all of those hard candies are there in their jars, but you can smell them.
Sweet,
right?
And then I get other stuff, but like that's the initial.
The water changed the aroma. I feel it soured it up a little bit. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. I would kind of agree with that. And it
soured it up.
That's what I was worried about.
It made the taste a little bit more frizzy, like you've got pop rocks or something in your mouth, and it's so much better before.
We don't frequently like putting water in these. We usually do not.
Okay.
60%.
Yeah.
But I think
and Phil, you don't ever have to put water in. We never make anyone put water in. You don't have to.
I think I'm here for the journey, so I think why not, see all versions of it. And this is something normally. So if I were at a bar or a Scotch den, would I just kind of like, would I have a glass of water with me with this, or is this like, because I wouldn't have our little pipette here, right? Like I wouldn't have anything like.
I mean, if you're really at a Scotch bar, they'll have the little pipette, and you can
really
to put in, yeah.
And is that something you asked for? Or is it just like cool?
If you're going to a place that really is getting good, single cask stuff, they're going to they're going to say, here's your whiskey and here's your water. You're being your own scientist and putting that water.
Yeah, it's.
If they don't, you can just stick your finger in the water and just do a drop of water.
Right.
As long as it's just your water.
Yeah, see, that's something that, like, when you were asking me earlier about like whiskeys and scotches and stuff, it's not like factoring in water is not necessarily something that I really even considered. Like that's how non-Scotch abreast I am.
Well, I've said this so many times, Phil, but
sweet finger juice,
sweet, and you put the ice in, and it cools down that sweetness, and you get more of the flavor coming through. And so I understand the ice in there, but it is also immediately putting water into that whiskey. So I would, even for a bourbon, I would try it neat, before I threw in that ice cube. That's just
Oh yeah. That's usually what I do with a bourbon. So if you ordered any of these at an actual Scotch place, are you like getting the whole kit just in case? Just to be like, well, let's see where this goes, or you already like know what you're doing, so you're just gonna go and have it how
it's
you
not the show. I never put water in my whiskey.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
I also feel like
Okay.
it's one of those things that like kind of Scotch snobs will be like, no, always put in a drop of water, and it's like that. That's just like it's like something you've learned a little bit of information and you're abusing it.
Yeah.
Like it's
let it
water,
let it breathe. Let it breathe for 1 minute and 13 seconds, then go ahead and that kind of horse shit. Yeah.
Just like it's like they have
I'm
this,
not
and
here
it's
for
like
that.
maybe taste it and see if you like it, and if you like it a lot, maybe don't put water in it, or try it a little bit at the end and see it, but don't just feel like, oh, must put the drop of water in, for that is how it is done. Like
or must water it down to 18%, and it's like, okay, you can do
It's
that.
gonna be pee. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what we're doing? We're moving on to our finale.
Oh,
and
yeah.
let me tell you, if we thought we were in the stratosphere before, we're about to go into low earth orbit.
We very seldom have whiskeys on the show that are this
64 point.
This is very strong.
This is Texas whiskey, and you'll notice they're spelling it without the E. They're spelling it properly because this is a single malt. This is Balcones. They're doing single malt in Texas in the style of Scotch whiskeys. So this is what does it say? First fill, new European oak, it says. So it's actually not even a sherry influence. It's just toasted European oak instead of like American oak.
44 months.
So this is a bourbon, right?
No, this is a whiskey. This is not a Scotch, but this is a
right.
whiskey.
It's not a Scotch
because it's from Texas. 51% corn in it.
So is it a rye?
No, a rye would have 51% rye in it. This is.
Oh, that's right. That was on my SAT.
Bourbon.
It was a trick question, though.
I got him. I got Joseph. I got him.
They gave me the 4. It was a trick question on the SAT. I had the same one when I was trying to get into college, and I was like, "Oh no, this is a rye," and I was like, I was tricked."
Yeah, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm in high school. I shouldn't know any of this."
Well, study for your SATs because it's important.
Yes.
But no, this is made from malted barley. There is no rye. There is no corn. This is just like they make Scotch, or single malt Scotch.
So this is like an American company trying to make something similar to a Scotch, kind of, right?
Yeah. And so there's this distillery in Texas that's doing it. There's one up in Washington that's doing it.
Did you know that the SAT standard for Scotch aptitude test? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, son of a bitch. I would have done so much better.
I did really well on the PSAT.
Probably worse. That's why I'm here, right?
The PSAT, the PD Scotch aptitude test.
Yeah.
Pre-Scotch.
Well, that's interesting.
Here we go.
You just brought something. Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Oh, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting.
Oh my.
Well, that's got such an unusual smell to it.
Can Andrew, Joseph, can you break down very, very simply why there's whiskey with an E and whiskey with no E?
The Scottish interpretation of whiska, which is breath or life, was spelt without the E, and so Scotch whiskey tends to be spelt without the E.
It's also, I think, just regional spelling because it's like
right.
theater with an RE or theater with an ER.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's essentially that. Most of the world uses EY.
Yeah. Is that something that you wince at, or is it? Because I like EY only because I got like a C+ in English.
I was always a terrible speller, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was a great speller.
Show this bottle again. Is the bottle an EY or just a? I didn't know.
It's just a Y, which would say Ritu Pex.
That's a choice right there that they made.
That is a choice. I do think it's a conscious choice because, like, even when I was typing out, like, "Hey, come watch me taste whiskey," I instinctively was like, EY. And then I went back and looked at your guys' thing and made sure, because I didn't want to fuck it up. So basically, but Kentucky bourbon, whiskey, like they spell it, is it like, so we could look at it as like English and other English, American English, right?
Here's the banana thing.
Check with a Q.
In England, they've all got all these E's in this world, these words that Americans cut off, but somehow whiskey, they kept that frickin' E.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. Just keep writing the letters, man. They'll listen to you. And you're going straight to the president with this stuff, right?
Biden's got nothing but time to think about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between aluminum and aluminium.
That's right. To be honest, I haven't tried it yet. So, is this the highest?
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty much the highest alcohol percentage of any whiskey that I have in my collection. This is crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, oh my God.
It is tasty.
It really is.
It's a breakfast.
I don't say this often.
Oh my God.
Let's go Texas.
Yeah, this is really fruity. Yeah, it's like half a grapefruit at breakfast with like or a fruit salad.
It's like a grapefruit reduction. It's just the syrup that comes out after.
Yeah, it's all the good part. It's like artificially flavored grapefruit, but not shitty.
No, it's
so very, very good.
Or I feel like I'm smelling and tasting molasses that has been alcoholified,
towards that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a very like dark brown sugar, like kind of like the fond of the pan in that. Like, fond is French for like anything that you burn into a pan like while you're cooking. Fond. And that's like, I encourage you while you're cooking, scrape that shit up and stir it back in, because that's where all of the good bits are.
That's the Maillard reaction. That's the Maillard reaction right there.
Wow.
Oof. My favorite. Yeah, this is all like the solid points with like no wasted anything in the middle.
I'm interested in this company. Do they make anything else? Like, what else do they, or is this just like a rare thing that they,
No, this is what they're trying to do. So they're making more of a kind of like a single malt
what part of Texas? Big state.
This is the most interesting American whiskey I may have tasted in a long time.
I think it is. Independent character, so they kind of are going out on their own, and this is aged 44 months, which I think is great in oak.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's that young. Like, it's definitely young, but I can't believe it's 44 months,
Waco, Texas.
Isn't it Waco?
Come on.
Waco.
Come on. You're Canadian.
Islay.
It's Waco. Well, there was that whole thing there was that whole thing that happened in Waco, Texas. That's how I know.
It's Waco. It's Waco.
It's Waco. There's the Wacko and Waco and all that other stuff. David Koresh. This one goes out to David Koresh. Don't do that again. Yeah, no. This is very good. Waco, Texas, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting that we're ending with an American whiskey. I really like that. That's really interesting.
Do you do that often?
No.
Or do they even come into the picture on this show?
Oh yeah. We've had bourbons on the show. We've done we've done all sorts of stuff.
So do you kind of like shift gears in your head when you're like, oh, okay, so you have American scotches, or whiskeys, you kind of,
I try to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
I try to keep an open mind, certainly. I do feel like bourbons all have a much more similar taste profile, but they just do. What? Where's my watch talking to me? My watch is talking to me.
So when we're saying new European oak, what does that mean?
It means that it hasn't had anything else in it when they say new or virgin. So it hasn't had sherry, it hasn't had wine,
right.
Just basically a brand new barrel that was made from European oak. Now the varietals are different. So the kinds of flavors that a toasted European oak will impart to the whiskey is different than American oak. American oak, you get a lot of vanilla, and that's what a lot of people like that it gives to the bourbon, vanilla and honey. And European oak, you tend to get a little bit more of the kind of sweeter notes.
Andrew, what'd you get on your Scotch aptitude test? Sounds like you did pretty good. You should tutor this stuff.
Apparently, I was 100% aptitudinal towards Scotch. That's what it measures.
So that's why you do the show.
I think so.
So you got like a full Scotch scholarship, a Scotchlership.
A Scotchlership.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the check to come in. They keep saying
it's
any
gonna
day
come.
Now, waiting.
It'll come.
Waiting.
Here's the thing about that, though, that we need to consider, and is I fucking love whiskey.
Yes.
Your point is well taken.
Should I do water now?
I'm probably going to put some water in this. I'm going to put Islay water in it just because I have some, just to shake up the natural order of things. But I want to see.
You know what?
It's 64%.
Waco, Texas. It's Waco, Texas. We're going to do some Echo Park tap water right here.
Boom.
Echo Park tap water. Boom,
I'm
baby.
surprised it doesn't like catch on fire, right? Because Texans hate California.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Not all.
Here's to you, Texas.
Here's to Balcones.
Send us all of the people.
Like, I don't hate Texas. I love Texas. I just hate the people in charge of the state.
Hey, send us your human rights refugees, please.
Or come over to the dark side. Turn blue, Texas. Come on.
And send us your Balcones.
You're so close.
And
You're
send
so
us your.
close.
You have good ambassadors right here. All right, here we go. Water time.
And anybody out there that's watching, like if you see a Balcones bottle on the shelf, I would get it. I would try it.
Yeah.
Like, let's support this local effort to make the whiskey that way.
I'm going to say right out the gate, with water, there's a lot more like caramel and a lot of that brown sugary kind of, like it almost lifted it up, right? Like
I would agree.
It loosered it there. That's great.
Like less fruity, but like a lighter sort of light caramel, like a
yes,
dulce de leches, or what is it? Is that like
dulce de leche?
That's it. Yeah, the three milks, right?
Yeah.
The kind of caramel light cake.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna
tres leches. That's it. Tres leches.
Tres leches, of course.
Thank you. Of course, 3 milks. It's tres leches.
Phil, if you really get your nose in there, I think something you might notice is that I fucking love whiskey.
I noticed it.
Okay.
I think water yes for this. I like what it does. It's so strong. It's so strong that a little bit of water just is gonna help it. It just makes it, it brings it a little closer to and makes it more accessible. It does what they say. It opens it up.
Yeah. Needle in the nose.
Like maybe you start with the water, and then by the end of the night, it's when you want to make a point. That's where you just go direct, straight up. You guys don't. This is good whiskey.
It really is.
Oh, you guys don't motivationally drink where you're like, all right, this round I'm gonna play that song on the jukebox, and I don't care if anybody doesn't like it. It's my time and my money. You guys don't have
like Lady Gaga.
It's our time down here. Down here, it's our time. Up there, it's their time. It's their time up there.
Born this way.
It's like a dark caramel blanket with my Texas boots peeking out, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
You haven't tasted it, and I think that is such a great description.
That's exactly
it truly
right.
is. My Texas boots are poking out right now, and I'm under the sun. And what do we have? The Sons of Pioneers are playing. And it's Texas.
I feel like there's a fiddle, not a violin, but a fiddle playing.
Fiddle.
A fiddle and a banjo.
I want to know what the difference between a fiddle and a banjo and a violin is.
It's how you play it, I think. I don't think there's any.
But I also feel like there's a body style difference.
Is there?
I think yes. I feel like a fiddle is a little more open in the middle, and the violin is a little more narrow in the middle. I mean, we got a Stradivarius and then
here, and the fiddle you can play here, which seems different.
You can play them anywhere, dude. It's up to you.
Really? You can do this?
Don't let them close you in by the rules.
Oh,
I've seen it.
I assumed, Mo, that you had tasted it. That's why I thought you were saying it.
Oh. Are you saying you snuck in?
Oh God, you
guys had some in my bottle when I wasn't looking? It's entirely possible, I guess.
I'm gonna have it with the water now. I haven't tasted it with the water. I've just enjoyed it so much just by the smell. Oh my God. It's just all I'm
Yes.
I'm walking into like a pastry bakery at just the right time.
Yep.
It's very just
All those little drizzled goods have just come out and they're set down, and the alcohol disappears. Like that is the dangerous thing with a little water. Like that is so
it does.
smooth.
Oh wow. The punch isn't there anymore. It's more like a little bit of a that's wow. And that was just a little drop.
This is my favorite American whiskey. I'm gonna say it. This is my favorite American whiskey right now.
So right now, what would you say? Like, how available is this? Can you go to a Bevmo? Can you go to a Wine and More, whatever the fuck it's called?
I don't know. I mean, they are trying to get distribution. K&L here in LA definitely has this. This is where I got this one.
K&L?
K&L Wines down on Sunset. No, sorry, on Vine just below Sunset. Sunset Vine.
It's a good place. They have really good prices.
Oh, yes. Below the Starbucks. Right? On the corner? Below the Starbucks on the corner? Am I wrong?
South of it, the Starbucks?
It's
not from a FedEx.
Starbucks.
Kinko's.
It's near FedEx, yeah.
Yes. There's a Starbucks on the corner, is there not?
There's a Starbucks on the corner everywhere.
Welcome to the I fucking love. Is there a Starbucks in this place? It's K&L. I do know this place.
K&L Wines. They're great. Mission Liquor here in town is really good. Remedy is often good selection, but they have the prices to match it, unfortunately. But K&L is your best bang for buck, and he's really going out. David OG is going out and talking to these whiskey makers and really finding the good stuff, and like obviously became pals with Balcones and just finding just amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Good to know. Balcones. Yes, water totally changes this up. It's almost I don't want to say it's like a fully different whiskey, but it almost is.
Yeah, and I don't know that if I came to this and put water in it at the start of the night, I would be in the same place I am now. But right now, this does not taste 64.
No. 64.2, no less.
Like most distilleries in Scotland will water it down to 64% in the barrel before they even seal the cork. So it's always 64.
But what is the likelihood, like this wouldn't end up in Scotland because this is more of just a regular whiskey, right? Like this would probably just have like a domestic reach at best.
The thing that I found in Scotland, there's a lot of people that really fucking love bourbons and want to get their hands on them. So any place you can't get something that you like, it's
exotic.
No,
it's exotic and interesting over there.
I found that to be a thing with different stuff, like not just whiskey, obviously, but like so many different things where like, oh no, this isn't common to us. So we like the thing that you think we don't like.
Yeah. You can get anywhere you want.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That makes total sense. Bourbons. So is there so in your various trips to Scotland, are you seeing a lot of like Kentucky bourbons and like that's like you seeing like Bullet and all that kind of stuff there? Or
I mean, there's definitely that section of every bar, and you can tell if the bar really isn't into whiskey. They will have the Scotch selection, of course, but they will also have a good Irish section, a good bourbon section. So I mean, people that like to try.
They will have some American whiskeys though.
Yeah.
And that's where like the kind of like the cattle rustlers are in the bar and stuff like that, like all the kind of like roughnecks and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. You got their chaps on. You can smell the horse on them.
Their Texas boots are peeking out.
Yeah, their Texas boots are peeking out. You can spot them a mile away. They're Texas boots. $99.
That's a good question, actually, Mo. Do you know if the whiskey masters are American or brought it from Scotland? A lot of the American whiskey distillation came from expat Scottish and Irish people that came over and settled in the South and said, oh, you know what we have here? We got a lot of oak, we got a lot of water, we got a lot of grains. I know what to do with that. So it's a continuation of the.
What did they do with it? What did they do? You didn't tell us what they did with it.
Oh, it's a mystery. You'll have to tune in next week to find out. That's our.
It's not my
man.
episode. It's not my business.
It's our cliffhanger.
I would say, I'm looking at all of my samplings in front of me here. The last one is the one that I finished, and I finished. But the last one, I was just again, and this was the high, like you said, this was the highest one, but it didn't feel like it. So it was just like, I'm just gonna have this.
Especially after the brother. I'm interested to know what your brother thinks of these as well when he gets to try them later.
Well,
he's not trying the last one.
Yeah,
he's not gonna try the last one. But you could buy a bottle. You could buy a bottle from K&L. So I mean,
it'll be in town. Yeah.
I don't know if they have this particular cask left. I don't know when I got this thing, maybe a year or two ago.
Oh, really? Is that like a special?
This was a single cask, yeah. Bottled in 20. So I probably got this in 2020.
Wow.
So,
that's
but
great.
they'll have other Balcones, and you can explore them.
Yeah. Oh, there's a little more.
Oh, yeah. Just get that. Don't let it evaporate. Hey, Phil. We've had a lot of fun on the show, and I really appreciate you being here. And
thank you. I learned so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't want to turn the mood somber at all.
Sure.
I kind of hate to, pivot like this because it's been so jovial and fun and, exploratory. But it's time that Joseph and I got serious and get to the point of why we do this show.
Sure.
Yeah, we have a question for you, and we want you to take it.
Yeah.
Extremely seriously.
So you softened me up with the whiskey. I love whiskey,
but we need to get to the core of your being. We need to get to the root of it all. Like after all of this distraction, we have a very serious question. And
Phil, do you like whiskey?
I'm on the spot here, and while I can't soul search. I don't have the time for that, but let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys, I fucking love whiskey. I fucking love whiskey.
I agree with that sentiment.
I do. I really do. In this experience really just really hammered that home, and I fucking love whiskey.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I fucking love whiskey. I'm so happy to have had this experience and to learn so much and to taste this stuff. Thank you so much, you guys. This is so cool, and I want to take this with me so that I can go on this journey further and really explore this world that I really didn't know existed. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool and interesting. And it doesn't, I can't wait. This is so cool. Thank you so much, you guys. This is so great.
I think everybody can do this. Everybody can go and try a whiskey they haven't had before and see what it brings to them, and just doing it neat. These are artisans. They're making this like a fantastic product. It's a combination of science and art together, and that's really what I love to live.
And very also just old, passed down and passed down and passed down science and art. Like this is hundreds of years of them. It's so cool. I love it. It's so great. Thank you so much.
Thaddeus, thank you. Hopefully next week, Thaddeus will be tasting along and giving the best tasting notes on any platform on the internet next week, and being a technical genius and just being an awesome all-around fella. Thank you, Phil, for being a fantastic guest, Joseph, and thank you for being the co-host.
Thank you, Andrew.
I appreciate all of you, and you people at home watching. Tell your friends, be a neighbor, let them know how great whiskey is, and that they should fucking love it just like we do.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good message.
I fucking love it. I love it. I fucking love whiskey.
We'll see you next week with another super special guest. We'll miss you. We'll miss you, Phil. I don't want to.
Hey, I'll miss you too, but thank you for this.
Launch, everybody.
So long.
Oh yes.